The story of Arson Anthem and beyond! Warning! Arson Anthem was a supergroup formed by two metal legends and a genre-building Shelton Williams and some guy named Colin. Let's see if we can get a background check on these guys as we go through all that there is to know about this fantastic hardcore band. Are they punk or are they metal? What they are not is for the faint of heart.
Yes! Now set your DeLorean to 2006, because where we're going, we don't need road.
Actually, do you have more trash to pour into your DeLorean? Some plutonium, maybe, perhaps. Because 2006 is not the beginning for Arson Anthem. We're going all the way back to 2003, baby!
Punk Show, October 22nd. In the early 2000s, Shelton Williams was making a name for himself in the country music scene as Hank Williams III, while also staying true to his punk and metal roots, playing, writing, and recording with everyone in every scene except pop country. His output during this time period is truly something to be proud of, and if you are here with me, the goal of my channel is to inspire music fans, musicians, to get the most out of their musical ambitions, their musical taste, and their listening experiences. Thank you for being here.
The most notable in a long list of accomplishments would perhaps be his time as bassist in Superjoint Ritual from 2002 until 2004, where he would perform bass duties on this classic album, A Lethal Dose of American Hatred. The band's last was Sanctuary Records, due to Philip Anselmo's creating his own label called Housecore Records, which is an amazing label today in 2022, and I highly recommend checking out their website. More on Housecore later. Right now, we have to Frankenstein these Arson Anthem guys together with a bit of Google and a bit of elbow sludge. I mean grease? I guess sludge works.
Sludge hurts. Sludge stings. Sludge bars and bars. It hurts. Not strong enough to take a lot of sludge. It's like a sludge. Sludge is like a sludge. Burns you when it's...
Sludge hurts. This gig in Superjoint Ritual also allowed Shelton Hank III a means of letting go of some of the steam about his not-so-good record deal with the Curb Records, who are so wacky that they spell their name backwards to sell records. Very disturbing. Brooke
Records!
This is a random factoid to keep you interested in the video, to keep you watching. At the age of 15, Mike Dirnt, then known as Mike Pritchard of Green Day, ran away from home, but quickly moved in with his partner in crime, one Jilly Bo Legweek, if I'm reading that correctly. Back to the harder stuff.
I know we've done a lot of time traveling, but you may need to travel a bit further back with me. Shelton Williams was in a punk band called Buzzkill in 1991, which led him to meeting his hero, Philip Anselmo. And gosh, help me if I say somebody's last name wrong. You guys are going to let me have it in the comments. I'm telling you. Philip Anselmo.
So Shelton Hank Williams III met Anselmo in 1991, and then after creating a brand for himself was welcomed into the Superjoint Ritual family, with Michael Haga leaving the band due to a major falling out with drummer Joe Fazio, which was so bad that the rhythm section could not sectionalize music together anymore. This sudden exit gave Hank III a chance to play with his heroes, to meet his heroes. You're not supposed to do that.
Rock and roll! In 2006, Hurricane Katrina hit, and as someone who has personally seen the lasting devastation of that storm, it's a bit difficult to talk about without getting choked up. But I will continue because I am a punk rocker. Katrina is one of the worst natural disasters in all of the world. And being famous means nothing when you lose everything. And you have to face something like that.
In the wake of the devastation, Mike D. Williams, no relation of EHG, moved in with the Philip Anselmo guy. After losing everything to the terrible storm that took so much from so many. The two had toured previously together with their bands and had bonded over the harder side of rock and roll. Also, they're both natives of the wonderful city of New Orleans, and New Orleans people are punk rock for sure, no matter how you pronounce Nolans. It actually was an extra apartment, so they weren't, it wasn't like a single unit. I don't want to get comments. I don't want to get the comments, dudes, losing their minds. You will anyway. So are you one of the loot group of Spotify followers following Arson Anthem in 2022? We are 1,387 strong. And after this video drops, I expect Ansem Anthem, however you say that band, to pay me $1 million per new subscriber, listener to their Spotify account that I get them for this video. But I will settle for a pat on the back. I'll settle for nothing, really.
Perhaps in an effort to process the disaster, the two took a winding detour through Philip Anselmo's collection of hardcore music from the late 70s and 1980s, and finally focusing on the sounds of Negative Approach, Sheer Terror, and Discharge. Mike Williams also knew Shelton because they're not related, but they brought him in as a drummer.
The bass player, though,
Colin, Yeo, materialized out of thin air shortly after Shelton Williams. After rocking off Socks Off with Arson Anthem, Colin Yeo has since played with a band called Pony Bleeper, a psychedelic rock band that blends a dozen genres worth into one. Releasing The Wilderness in 2011, a really quick album review of The Wilderness. It's a lot more fun than the psychedelic ties would imply, with a punk rock heart and a score of 3 out of 5 in my tally book, my punk rock black book, if you will. And if you need a song to test the waters with Pony Bleepers, my suggestion would be Dead Heart. I like that one quite a bit. If you're a hardcore heart person and you need a more mellow night, Pony Bleeper, Pony Cater might just be for you. Mike, Phil, Shelton, and Colin begin a focused assault on their instruments and begin scraping together a throwback hardcore punk sound with elements of heavy metal, sludge, and just a teensy little bit of southern personality.
the band of brothers packed up their song scraps and headed west, I think over that way, towards Houston, Texas, where they compiled and completed tracking on 8 songs.
There were delays, but the self-titled EP would come out on February 19th of 2008, a jagged yet solid record of unadulterated hardcore punk with no lyrics to be found anywhere on the internet, on the planet Earth. I bet Colin Yeo's home planet has them. Get out, shut up! But it's the musical intensity that matters, and make the split loud, and it makes the spit-shouted lyrics all the more powerful, even when you can't understand them, although I can, I assure you. I did hear some uno, dos, tres, cuatro, so that was, oh my, wow. Every member is electric, with Hank 3's cowboy hat flying off his head from the stupid, insane, magical drum smashes on this thing. A 5 out of 5 hardcore EP, so hardcore, yet somehow accessible and fun, and a horror show kind of bop. Sociopath, down. CSC is the highlight and is a gloriously brutal nightmare of a good time. I already said it's a 5 out of 5. What more do you want out of me, you hardcore guys? In 2009, Philip Anselmo's label Housecore Records put out a compilation called, believe it or not, Housecore Records Compilation Volume 1. I cannot make this stuff up, guys. This compilation has an Arson Anthem song called Crippled Life, as well as a multitude of tracks created by the guys in other musical incarnations, like EXG, CI, and even the PKs. Man, these guys really know how to name bands. Sorry I can't say their band names, but you still can't have my punk card, though. I need that to get into punk clubs and stuff. There's also some great cuts from Soylent Green, Crowbar, DAD, Burn Freak in Egypt. I can say some of these bands. Elise, Cavalcade, cool word, Sky High, Sursix. That Sky High is probably going to get me in trouble. Dang it. Body and Blood, the Mystic Crew of Clear Light, Donovan Punch, Val Howl, Shell Shock, Exactly Violent Style, Rat in a Bucket. That one is just ooh la la tasty. War Beast, Harp, and Evil Army. Did I mention Rat Bucket? The material kept accumulating, and on October 12th, 2010, Arson Anthem had their first full-length studio album called Insecurity Notoriety. With the exception of Hank Williams III, Shelton, who was putting out albums faster than Curb or Brooke could steal his money, the main gigs of the other members were between projects, and with Hank III seemingly a man who never sleeps, the band had plenty of time to make a lot of pure hardcore music, songs, 17 of which made this record, which clocked in at a wretched 31 minutes. 7 seconds over that, but that's okay.
Wait a second, guys. Can we gotta? I really need to go listen to Lights by Journey really quick. Is that okay if I just go listen to Journey real quick? It'll only take a second.
Before we take a secret agent's look at what's going on with Arson Anthem in 2022 and beyond, we need to take a big bite out of the Insecurity Notoriety and see what value the band is bringing to the hardcore scene. E.I.N. is an album that begins with screaming and ends with screaming. Between the fuzzled and the fractured at the end, the hardcore scene gained a classic album with this piece of stuff.
Naught is an instrumental that doesn't waste any time punching you in the face for 30 seconds.
Foul Pride shows us the urgency and anger of this album, an introduction with a thrashy snake bite. It's worth noting the writing process for the band on this album, with Anselmo crafting most of the instrumentals and Mike Williams scrolling most of the lyrics. There are exceptions to this writing rule, like when both Mike Williams and Philip Anselmo co-wrote the words together. Hank Williams III, or Shelton, gets some writing credits for music on Death of an Idiot and Kleptomania, and the mysterious Colin Yao gets a couple instrumental writing credits as well, which is fantastic and abruptly satisfying to you, dear liker and subscribers. This is an album heck bent on anger, torment, suffering. Although there are some hard lessons to learn in such a positive light with the narrative of the record, somewhere at the heart of this beast of a pile of music, the lyrics are generally 3 lyrics shrieked over, some of the best technical metal and hardcore ramshackle I've ever heard. It's glorious punk. There's a lot of chemicals, car wrecks, handcuffs, boredom, and sadness. And the album ends with what feels like a message of wanting to change the current of this horrific circumstance, this bloody, desperate ocean. Can you pull it?
4.8 out of 5. Absolute must listen. Hardcore album.
This underground release garnered some spectacular applause from a Canadian magazine called Acclaim. The Rock Rag says this about the album: it's the number 7 metal album of the year, and we have the complete list here for you and linked in the description as well. It's a pretty interesting list. I've heard of some of these: Torch, Dillinger, Escape Plan, Norma Jean, Colin, Daughters, Bison BC, Arson Anthem, there you go. Melvins, whoa! High on Fire and Dangers. The Melvins, wow. This is what Acclaim had to say about the album, the Insecurity Notoriety from Housecore Records. There's a blazing trail, and then there's obliterating everything in sight. Taking the latter approach with this sophomore opus, old school hardcore quartet Arson Anthem serve up a uniquely invigorating, incendiary cocktail of discharges, honed intent, black facts, confrontational bravado, and Bad Brains' charged vitality. Given that AA boasts the legendary talents of EHG's Mike Williams, Pantera and Down's Phil Anselmo, Hank Williams III, and Colin, such musical warfare was wonderfully inevitable. That was really hard to read, Keith Carman. You probably read about Philip Anselmo's interview in 2013, where he essentially says that Arson Anthem was done. Anselmo's exact quote is this: "Arson? No!" There's probably nothing new going to happen with Arson, but it was fun to do while it lasted, and once again, given the circumstance, the singer for Arson Anthem is also the singer for EHG, and I know that they have a tour coming up that's going to last them about 5 weeks in Europe, and they just got through tracking their new album over there in the studio, so hopefully there's a chance that I get to mix that record and be a part of that record. So Arson, like I said, is one of the many side projects that I've done in the past. As for right now, there's nothing left to do.
Although, as of filming this video, 2013 was nearly a decade ago. What has changed since 2013 with the members of Arson Anthem? We got 9 years of stuff.
And he actually worked on the self-titled EHG album. How cool is that? Mike Williams is currently rocking all over the free world with EHG, with lots of shows we should all meet at. The tour is running through November 13th, 2022, so be sure to catch a show. Philip Anselmo has some dates coming up with his band Down, and the biggest news, you guys know what it is, the Pantera reunion, which is sparking controversy with fans about the lineup. But I'm very much of the opinion that good music is good music. It could be Ronald McDonald up there rocking with them, as long as he's sufficient enough in his guitar playing. Let me know in the comments what you think about Pantera 2022. Colin teleported back to his home planet shortly after rocking out with Pony Bleeper for a bit in 2011. And Hank 3 may have hitched a ride on the same UFO, with very little happening other than a version of You Never Even Called Me By My Name being released on the YouTube.
Are Colin and H3 planning a return on their UFO to Earth soon? Will EHG make an even heavier record after their 2021 output? And finally, how is this Pantera reunion going to pan out? Woo! If you enjoyed this video and want more insane ramblings about music like this, check out these videos that are coming up at the end screen, or possibly right here on my screen. I'm not too professional yet. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and commenting and all that stuff. And I will see you, or you'll see me in the next video, because you're going to stick around.